Or hopefully this background is working. Hopefully things aren't too bright. Yeah, I kind of hang around the house in colorful stuff usually, and then because I've got to get dressed and go to a business meeting, so I like to relax when I'm around the house. And when you're on places like this and Zoom, you I guess you can kind of be more casual. But anyway, so let's get on with the reading for today, which is the 3rd of June, 2025. It's always struck me as kind of odd why you have the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, etc. But the first three are different. With the first, why isn't it the 1th? And the second, why isn't it the 2th? And the third, why isn't it the 3th? I don't know. I guess they just don't fit together well in your tongue. But just kind of wondering, other languages have got similar issues, at least a lot of them do. Nothing to do with the reading, which is called More Than a Rainbow. So make of this what you will, because it's got kind of multifaceted meanings. So anyway, here we go. More Than a Rainbow. First quote is from someone you've all heard of, Brené Brown, from here in Houston, from The Gifts of Imperfection. The Gifts of Imperfection. Owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing we'll ever do. Owning our story, or stories, and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we will ever do. And I got to agree with her. It's sometimes hard to be with ourselves. And Ernest Holmes here is quoting from the ancient Greeks. He says, I believe it was Plato who said that God is love, truth, and beauty. Everything is rooted in beauty. Beauty is harmony and right proportion. It is symmetry and charm and grace and loveliness. Surely we should identify ourselves with this terrific beauty that pours its warmth and color over everything and seems to be at the very root of our being. So Holmes here is saying that beauty is at the center of everything. And remember, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is our perception of something, and it's not just the external beauty, it's beauty in its totality. And this is from Raymond Anderson. He says, imagine for a moment that every part of your life is a brushstroke on a canvas, or a patch on a quilt, maybe a thread in a tapestry, or perhaps a note in an opus. Each of these has a texture and tone of color that, when brought together, form the image of the story of your life that is expressed as you. Of course, these are all metaphors. Now he says, pause, breathe. He says, not all stories have happy endings. I like this one. My wife would love this one next. Not all auditions end with Simon Cowell giving you a thumbs up or whatever. Sometimes our individual and collective stories are painful, which is why many choose to deny the truth and live a lie. It's one of the reasons Pride Month is more than a rainbow. The rainbow signifies Pride Month. Well, you probably know that. It's a time to remember, to honor, to celebrate, and to glean from the brilliant and vibrantly colorful lives of people who traversed the pain and hate inflicted by a church, by their families, by friends and trusted leaders. Their resilience, determination, and hope are the very definition, the absolute embodiment of what it means to be living in color, as our theme for this month suggests. The theme for the magazine is color. Oh yes, looking at it from a different perspective. Okay, who are the colorful people you look to for inspiration? In what ways do they demonstrate what it looks like to embody being in living color? How do you emulate this? Excuse me. In what ways can you ensure that you are being the colorful person whom someone else identifies as their inspiration, as their motivation, and as their aspiration? In what ways can you own your own colorful story and heal what needs to be healed so that you can live more fully as the beautiful being you are? Whoops. So there's a couple of messages here. One is he refers to Pride Month, of course, and he refers to what a lot of these people who are broadly classified as LGBTQ plus have been through and are still going through. And I've got to admit, when I was young, when I was a teenager, I had a completely different opinion about people who were gay, to use one expression to cover everybody. I believed everything that the church and friends and relatives had told me. People who were gay were, well, they needed correction. But as I entered the workforce and grew around people who had lots of different persuasions, I started to realize that this wasn't something that people necessarily chose. You know, one of the guys who worked with us when I worked in Holland was was gay, and trying to look at the world through his perspective, changed things. I realized that people are biologically different. People, for whatever reason, their minds are different. They see the world differently, and they have different orientations. So I started to realize that my original prejudices against gay people were wrong. And it just got changed. And when I joined Creative Life Spiritual Center and I met more gay people, I got to see a much broader perspective. And I also got to see how they were treated in life. And it just dawned on me that I didn't switch on. Does that make a difference? I don't know. Let me know. I just switched the light on. Does that make a difference or not? So anyway, bottom line is I changed my story. The other parts of what he's saying is that we don't always appreciate the qualities that we have and the qualities that we have to offer to the world. We tend to downgrade ourselves. Some people, of course, do the opposite and they just tell everybody how great they are. But by and large, the people, and we kind of talked about this the other day, the people who do that only brag, only tell people how great they are because inside they're feeling insecure. And the ones who actually realize that, realize it's their insecurity and work through that, you'll notice they just stop doing that because they don't need to do it anymore. They know that they're okay just as they are. So, two messages here, really. I don't like long winded affirmations. I'm going to read it out to you, but my affirmations, by and large, are short. As a magnificent, individualized expression of beauty itself, I show up in living color, always and in all ways. And by my colorful expression, lives are healed. It's written down there. Change it to what suits you. I'll tell you, I don't use long expressions. I don't long affirmations because they're hard to use. It's okay if you like long expressions, fantastic. I don't. I like to shorten them down. So I would shorten this down to something like, I'm a magnificent individualized expression of beauty itself. I show up in living color. My colorful expression helps heal lives. That's how I would change it. But whatever floats your boat. I'll be back tomorrow around about 5-ish. Reverend Lisa will be on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page at about 9:15 tomorrow morning. Please give us a like. Please share this message if you like it. And also discuss it with people, you know? And as I said, I'm going to bring people on here to discuss these things. And this will be a good one, actually, I think, to have some discussion on. So maybe we'll revisit this with somebody else and have a discussion. Please take care of yourselves. Most important, please take care of yourselves. You are a worthy, worthwhile individual. And in order to take care of other people, I just got a text from a lady I was contacting through or the business side of my life, who's looking after her mother-in-law for another week or so. So when you get in a position where you have to do things like that, you need that strength so that you can actually work through it. So most important, look after yourselves. And having done that, yes, then you can look after others. So until next time, namaste.